Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship. You can check us out at blackjackapprenticeship.com. And for this episode of our podcast, we have a special guest, Mr. Dusty Wisnu.
What's up?
And Dusty is the star of the documentary Holy Rollers, the true story of card-counting Christians. One of the stars, the runaway star of the movie. And he played for our team for years. He played on his own before that, and he is I guess it's safe to say, a upper six-figure winning card counter.
True.
So, Dusty, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good to have you here. So, dude, first question. You had the nickname Mr. Pink Chip.
Yeah.
How did you get that nickname?
Well, when I was in training, I knew a guy who called himself Mr. Black. I think it was Black Chip. And, black chips are pretty cool. They're $100, but where I was training, the 50-cent pieces were pink chips. And so I thought it was funny, kind of underplay my my own card counting prowess, and kind of also hearken unto the that movie Reservoir Dogs, where Mr. Pink.
There you go.
I don't know if you remember that conversation, but Mr. Pink does not like to tip.
Okay.
So I was kind of playing off of that too.
There you go. And then you found out after you tested out that...
Yeah, usually pink chips are $500.
Yeah, so it went from trying to downplay your prowess to...
just base arrogance.
Cool, man. So tell us a little bit about how you got into card counting. You got a unique story.
Yeah, I taught my mom how to play poker when I was in high school. And then they built a casino in my hometown, and she learned to play blackjack. So she kind of knew the basics of card counting, running divisor true, basic strategy, no deviations or anything like that.
Yeah.
And she taught me that, and I didn't really learn it very well, but, I knew how to count cards.
Just enough to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. It was awful. And I went the first time and won like $50 or something, so I was totally hooked.
Isn't that funny? I was talking with Loudon often.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he won his first 19 sessions. So he thought he was just amazing at it. And then he actually calculated his EV and found out that it was about 5 cents an hour.
Oh, my gosh.
So he laid off. But I remember winning... my first couple, I know Ben had the opposite. He lost his entire bankroll.
Oh, jeez. Well, he's so aggressive.
Lost his second bankroll.
Yeah.
And then I think with the third or fourth go around, he actually started winning.
Nice. He probably paid attention to his risk of ruin or something like that.
Probably not.
Oh.
So you started playing, and then...
Yeah, just for fun at first.
Yeah.
With my mom, and then I got laid off of my electrical job, and was like, well, I know how to count cards, so I took my unemployment check to the casino, which I would not recommend ever.
Pro tip: don't take your unemployment check to the casino.
Don't do it. But it was a good thing I did, because I won like $1,300. Mm-hmm. And I felt so guilty, and I actually pitied the casino, and so I played 3-card poker to lose $300 of it back.
Wow.
It was so weird. I was so not a card counter. I was a
poor
total
casino.
gambler. I know.
I can't believe you would do that.
They gave me a free meal and all sorts of stuff, and he was super nice. And
well, they're like a charity. They're there to help you out.
And the community,
Yes.
They do so much community service.
It's true.
So.
I see this mile of the freeway is kept clean by such and such casino. They're here to help the communities out.
They're really giving back.
Contrary to statistical evidence, they're there to help
right.
people out. So you won a little bit of money, and that's when I met you. Someone that we both knew said, "Oh, you count cards? Well, you must know Dusty. He's doing that for a living."
Yeah.
And so I asked you. He introduced us, and I said, "So, what do you do with the soft 18?" I believe your answer was usually stay.
Oh, really? I thought I was like, I'd probably hit it
Yeah,
or something
okay,
ridiculous.
yeah. And I said, okay, well, here's the deal. You don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
but I can teach you the ways.
Yeah.
So that's when you joined up with us, and the rest is history.
Yep.
So why don't you tell people a little bit about your experiences training?
Training was always kind of frustrating. I'm lazy by nature, and for me and for a lot of people I know, card counting training, you have to be really, really motivated. And so I was in training for like 5 months, and I already knew kind of the basics.
Why do you have to be motivated?
Because it actually takes work, consistent work, and so I had another job and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it wasn't until I ran out of money that I really was like, okay, now I have to test out.
Yeah.
But then there were also things like going to the casino and Ben watching me.
Yeah.
And we get done with this session and he's like, well, you didn't make any mistakes, and I was like, great, so I'm on the team, right? And he's like, well, no, I want to watch you play again. And just I felt so indignant, like, no, I didn't make any mistakes, I played perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm on the team, yeah, or whatever, so that was always interesting. And it's a different beast being watched by somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. And it's a completely different type of stress than even just playing and being watched by casino personnel.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting beast.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's a sense of, I better really pay attention to how I'm playing and what I'm doing, because this person's watching me. The rest of the time, I'm assuming that I'm playing perfectly or whatever, but it does bring the intensity to the next level. I remember even, we'd be testing all the players, and just for fun, Ben or I would deal to each other, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't want to screw up. Like, that would be embarrassing to screw up.
Oh my gosh.
When I hadn't thought about screwing up in months or years.
Yep.
But it does bring it. So a tip for you guys out there: if you can have someone that you can deal to and have them deal to you, it's so valuable. At our boot camps, I have yet to deal to someone and not find flaws in their game, and I'm talking about people that are new, but also people that are playing with, huge bankrolls, playing full time, and then they're still making some mistakes. That's why our test out process took so long, as well as why it was ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird too. It's a different type of stress, and I caught myself, and I know my teammates making weird excuses at times, where it's like, no, I never do that, I'm just nervous or whatever. And it's like, on the one hand, that might be true because it's a different type of stress, but if you can play perfectly in front of somebody while they're watching, and they're watching, then you're good to go in the casino.
All right, so you learn how, you train, you test out, boring. Tell people a little bit about what it was like after, once you start playing.
Wow. I think we had a pretty unique experience on our team. But it was wild. I didn't really get into playing really hard until I went on a trip with a friend, like a more experienced card counter. And that kind of...
Loudon?
No, that was...
oh, okay, I know who that was.
Yeah, Ahab.
Okay.
I called him in my phone. Another tip, if you're going to have card counter phone numbers in your phone, put them under code names, so that when they call you while you're in the casino.
Yeah, who was it? Was that you that got...
No, that wasn't me. I think that was...
Someone got picked off because they saw the... Oh, I think that was...
One of the Midwest guys, right?
Yeah, the casino zoomed in on their iPhone and saw the names.
Yep.
And then had... that was one of multiple things we learned over time. The first thing we learned, apparently we were called the MySpace team. And for you kids out there, there used to be this website called MySpace that was so awesome. It was like if Facebook was cool.
Yep. And you could put music on it.
This was pre-Facebook, and so we all had MySpace accounts.
I didn't.
Okay, everyone else had MySpace accounts, and we all were, friends. And the default for everything was public, and this was before anyone even thought about private accounts. And we're young bucks, and so we're not thinking that casinos are on there. But apparently, we found this out from surveillance years later, that they called us the MySpace team because they would just go into one of our profiles and say, "Oh, I know that guy. He's a high roller. I know that guy. He's a high roller," and connect all of us. So then we changed all the settings to private. There's another. If you've got a Facebook account, if you're on the Facebook, make sure that you have your settings set to private, or else just don't post anything about casinos, gambling. But better yet, just have everything set to private. You don't want strangers following that info.
No joke. I was never on MySpace, and I'm not on Facebook, but I often thought about making like a dummy profile that's like talks about gambling. I love to gamble. Here's my last craps loss. Here's how much money I've lost at roulette. Man. But I always seem to make it back at blackjack. Just total misinformation.
That's pretty
but
funny.
I never did it.
I get I don't know, every month, probably a couple times a month, I get random friend requests, and I look at who it is, and they work for a casino.
Oh, jeez.
And then I just ignore.
Yeah.
So, back to playing. You went on a trip with a more experienced player.
Yeah, and then after that, he wasn't on the team very long after that, but that kind of broke me in to what it's like to go on an out-of-state trip. And so for like the next year, I traveled with my wife and our first son all over the country.
Yeah. And
it was amazing. It was totally the heyday.
Yeah.
But
yeah, how many casinos do you think you've played?
Man, I don't know. Probably 200?
200.
Does that sound too high?
That was about what
too low?
Loudon
I'd say,
often.
yeah.
So tell me about one of your early trip experiences, something that was formative for you.
I'd say that first trip with G-Man. We went to Palm Springs and we're going around doing spotter BP. Uh-huh. And, he's like, "Do you want to pray before we go into this casino?" I'm like, "Sure. Yeah, why not?" And then at the end of the trip, it was like, we're getting closer, we're running out of casinos and we're running out of time. And he's like, "Okay, let's play really, really hard and then not sleep and go to the water park." "Did you bring your swimsuit?" I was like,
"No." So 10 straps in your board shorts.
Oh my gosh. No, we got a locker.
Okay.
Oh God.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't have told me that.
I shouldn't have told this story, but yeah, I think we got a locker. It had a key and everything. Totally secure. Yeah, and we ran around going on water slides.
But you played really hard that night.
Yeah, he was like, "Man, you got to work hard and play hard."
There you go.
And so that is something that was always kind of a struggle for me to do,
Yeah.
You're traveling all around the country with your loved ones and only seeing the crummy, dingy parts of town where all the casinos are.
Yeah.
So there were a few pretty sweet trips where we actually made it a priority to see something beautiful.
And I think he got that idea. He went on a trip with us. We even had the apprentice model came from, we're testing people out and we're like, dude, they need to go on a trip with us And so the first few players, we'd take them on trips with us, and then it was like, okay, now these guys know how we roll or whatever, how to do this. So we need to send new players on a trip with a veteran. That was it's just so valuable to get that real experience. But he went on a trip with us, and we were in Vegas, I think for 4 days, and just got crushed. And we pulled an all-nighter our last night, Ben and I playing, across the street from each other in downtown Vegas all night, till 8. I remember getting backed off at the shift change at 8 a.m. And we had lost almost all of our trip bankroll, and we decided to go get our comped massages instead of get a couple hours of sleep before our flight. But it was just like, you know what? We worked our asses off. We did everything we could do, and now we're gonna relax hard rather than just, or we would Ben and I like to instead of get that extra hour of sleep, let's just eat one more meal on the casino's dime. Get up early and have a big breakfast on the casino's dime. So one of the things that you really pioneered for our team was finding places in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So what was your logic?
They were always risky, and it's obvious why. These places are in the middle of nowhere, and almost every state has a few of these casinos that are totally isolated. Yeah. And oftentimes they're part of a chain or whatever, and they're not going to be any good, so not a lot of card counters go there. Yeah. They're risky because if you get backed off, it's like a 3-hour drive to the next casino. And so, these casinos in the middle of nowhere, they're risky, but that's what makes them attractive to me, because other card counters don't like to go there. So oftentimes you can find one of these in each state where they've just never heard of card counting.
Yeah, one of the things that we were very fortunate about when we started, Ben and I, was that we were, Washington State at the time was $50, $100 limits, which to us, we were very rarely betting that much, if ever, even betting $100 initially. And so it was fine with us, but no other card counter is going to fly to Washington State to bet $50 or $100 limits. Yeah. So we'd be sitting there 6-8 hours a day, and they had very little clue. Now, to be fair, I've found a lot of casinos, even large casinos, if you're betting those limits anywhere, they're probably not going to care. But even when we started, growing our bankroll, betting more, it was what we lacked in EV per hour, we just made up for in hours, which is that whole idea, There were different people had different strategies on our team. Some people would say, I want the highest dollar per hour, even if I get backed off in an hour. And then other people would say, find me a place where I'm playing 12 hours a day for 4 straight days, Yeah.
I was the latter. I loved that. I loved just being able to camp out and just wail on them.
And you'd pioneer these places, and then the rest of the team would fly in and
burn them down.
Just swarm them. But it was great. I can think of one place in the middle of a random state that we took $500,000 from in a year that you found. Yeah. And you started playing, and everyone else said, "What is Dusty doing?" Yeah. And then once after right around $500,000 worth of net profit, that's when the casino said, "Okay, well, you guys are done here." And then you found one of those. I can think of like 5 other states.
Yeah, they're all over. It's interesting, and not always. I drove out to one place in the middle of like Missouri, and they were like awful. Yeah. I got there and I bought in over $10,000, or I was trying to, and they were like, "No, we have to see your social security card." And I was like, "No, it says right on it not to carry it on your person. Yeah. There's no way I'll fill out the form." And they were like, "No." And so they're inexperienced. Yeah. They hadn't heard of card counting, but they also just weren't very good at what they did. And so that ended my session after like an hour or two when I was hoping to play all night.
Yeah. It makes me think of one of our early trips, I'll say, the Arizona area, and we played a place for 3-4 days, and we went to cash out our $140,000 in chips. We'd bought in 60 grand, we won 80 there.
Wow.
Went to cash it out, and they wouldn't. And they first, one guy, so we sent one guy to cash it, and the other 3 of us sat in the car. And then after 15 minutes of not hearing from him, sent another guy in. After another 15 minutes of not hearing from him, the last 2 of us went in, and they took us all to, a back room, and they said, "How did you win this much money? How were you cheating?" And we said, "We weren't cheating. We were counting cards." And they said, "Well, how do you do that?" And so we had to explain to them high, low, plus, minus, and they said, "Well, how do you know what to bet?" And we explained to them our bet spread and that we use software to calculate it. Yeah. And then they checked every single chip under black light to make sure it wasn't counterfeit.
Oh, and they had to be $500 chips, right?
Yeah. And we cashed them out, and we went on our merry way. And they still sent us a letter, said you're not welcome on our property for cheating. But yeah, some of these places, I know my biggest win was at a place in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest that I don't know if anyone in I had gotten flyered in a major city. I flew there because, lots of people had been playing, good favorable rules. Okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to be there for 4 days. Within 2 hours, I was flyered and done at all the major casinos. So I take the 3-hour drive to somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Played there for the last 3 days. I won over $50,000. And when I went, I asked went to their host office to see if I could get envelopes to put my extra money in. And they said, "Well, we're not open yet." And I was like, I've been here for 3 days, won 50 grand, and their hosts have no idea who I am.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
There's a reason why this casino doesn't know what I'm doing. It has to do with how they're run.
Yep.
So you pioneered finding those places.
Yeah, those places could be pretty glorious.
Yeah, and we could probably talk for about 3 hours about some of your best stories, but before we go, why don't we just hear one or two of your favorite casino stories? How many times have you're the only, no, one other member of our team was ever arrested.
Yeah.
You're the only other. How many times did you get arrested?
Oh, just the once.
Just the once, okay.
And that was, for possession of stolen property.
Okay, so why don't you tell us that story real quickly?
Yeah. I was playing at one of these middle of nowhere casinos and won a bunch of money, and they cashed me out. Everything was fine, copacetic. On my next trip, I get the tap on the shoulder while I'm playing.
This is a trip to another casino?
Yeah, across the country.
Okay.
I get the tap on the shoulder, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm done, And the guy's like, hey, can you grab your stuff and come with me? I'm like, yeah. Okay, sure. Can I just cash out and leave? You've been
through the drill?
Yeah. And he's like, no, how about you come with me? And I was like, okay. So he walks me up the stairs, and we're riding up the escalator, and I'm like, so did I win a jackpot or something? He was like, no, you didn't. He didn't say that either, but he walks me over to these security guards who are waiting by a freight elevator.
Yeah.
And we go into the elevator and stand there, and I'm like, okay, are the handcuffs really necessary?
Oh man.
And they're like, nobody's saying anything.
Yeah.
And I look at these security guards and I see their guns, and I'm like, oh, these aren't security guards. And I look at their badges, and it's like, no, these are cops. What the heck is going on? And so we get to the back room in the bowels of this casino, and the cop is like, so do you know why you're here? And I'm like, maybe. I try never to say yes or no.
Yeah.
Most of the time I do know why I'm there. I'm counting cards.
Usually because you have the advantage.
But in this case, maybe was the right answer. And they were like, you have a ridiculously high amount of marked bills.
Huh.
So you're under arrest for possession of stolen property. And I was like, what? This is crazy. And it was this huge ordeal. We were
I think I was in Austria.
Yeah, you and Ben.
So Ben and I went to a friend's wedding in Austria, and it was the first time we'd left the country for an extended period. And we left Mark in charge. We said, "Don't worry about it, Mark. Nothing's gonna happen."
Super easy to manage this.
Then we start getting these. It was really hard to check email or phone calls or whatever. But once we did, we're getting this Dusty's in jail, stolen money, don't know what to do. So you spent what, one night?
I spent 14 hours detained. And no phone call. They didn't read me my rights until like 10 in the morning. Yeah, it was intense. Luckily, they didn't impound my rental car because I told them, my wife's in town, and they were like, "Okay, she can come get it."
So what happened?
So they kept me until the FBI opened. And they had taken photos of every single bill, the serial numbers, and all of it. And they the FBI opens and they're sending him this fax, and the FBI was like, "We don't care."
Oh wow!
You send this guy home.
Yeah.
So I promised myself when I was in the bullpen with 11 other dudes that I would never count cards again. And then,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was it. That was the line. That was when I decided I was gonna quit. And then
how'd that work out for you?
Well, I got out of jail and I still didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Of my own, and so I drove straight to. Well, I slept, and then I drove to a casino in another state.
So that.
I was retired for probably about 22 hours.
And you were the one person I remember at a team meeting of 30 people who said, "Well, I think this is when we started talking about starting other businesses and how we were interested in helping ourselves and other people on the team launch other businesses." And we said something like, "Well, we're not going to be counting cards forever." And your famous line is, "What? I am."
Yeah, I love it. It's immensely enjoyable for me.
And we even we were training your mom for a while.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Yeah.
But
man, she would have been a great BP.
Yeah, why is that?
Oh, just because she's not young and
white.
Well,
I guess she's white.
Well, yeah. But female,
young
older,
white.
looks like she might actually carry that much money on a regular basis.
I remember reading in the surveillance guide to card counting or something like that. It was giving the profile of a card counter, and this is when I was 22 and was just starting to do this full time, and it said, young, white, male, some facial hair,
cargo pants,
and carries money in rubber bands. I was like, wow, and I remember having the thought then of, okay, I'm going to stop and wait till I'm about 50.
Yep.
And then I'm going to start doing this again. And I thought, that's the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
Now's the time,
Yeah.
Why would I put this on the shelf for 30 years? And I'm glad, I fit the profile. Well, who gives a crap? I still, people say, oh, well, you look like a card counter. Well, I still won tons of money. And people say, well, you're in Griffin Book. Well, I won most of the money I won after being put in Griffin Book. And, people say, oh, well, casinos know about you. They know about the team. Well, I don't you're on a website for card counting.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I still play. I still generate EV. I still win money.
Those same casino hosts who didn't know your name when you were playing thousands of dollars work with casino security that have no idea about your website.
That's right. I've gotten a couple back-offs in the last year where they've mentioned the website.
Nice.
Which is it's nice. The website's getting a little bit of notoriety.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't mind getting a little extra EV before the tap. So it's...
Yeah.
I'll take what I can get, I guess.
Yeah.
Dude, so how about one more story for us?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked, because this one's better than that one. This is another one of those stories I probably shouldn't be telling you.
So is the FBI involved in this one?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I can think of at least one other story with you involving FBI.
Oh, yeah. There was the day after Osama bin Laden was cacked.
Oh, is that when you left money in the...
Oh, no, that wasn't FBI.
Oh.
That was just the cops.
I thought... Well, I remember talking to FBI about it. Like, they called us.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe you should tell that story. What was it like?
What was it like?
Talking to the FBI.
And trying to get back $10,000. $20,000 that you'd left in a hotel room drawer.
Yeah, and not a nice hotel room either. It was like a cheap hotel room.
I cannot
nightstand.
believe that the cleaning lady gave the money to the manager gave it to the police.
Well, I don't think the manager was going to.
Oh.
I think
you called.
I came back and was like, hey, I left my work papers in the nightstand.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, work papers, what's in the envelopes? And I'm like, papers for work. And he was like, what kind of papers? What's in the envelopes? He was this Indian guy. And I was like, $20,000. And he was like, I've already called the police.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll wait.
Oh.
And so like 40 minutes later, the cops show up. I don't think he had called the police.
Uh-huh.
I think he had just made 20 grand.
Yeah.
Like finders keepers. And like I wouldn't blame him because it's like probably drug money.
Yeah.
Why not screw the drug dealer?
That justifies it? If it's...
Probably not.
Yeah.
But,
We'll leave the ethics conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. But, no, the story I was thinking about was a return trip to one of those middle of nowhere casinos because they always eventually catch on.
Yeah.
And figure out that they're losing money.
We were playing.
So I went back, and my host was this really nice guy, and I like go in, and he's like, "Oh, hey, come in here," and like shuts the door, and is like, I'm just telling you this as like a friend or whatever. I don't know if anybody's talked to you, but they decided that they're not going to let you play blackjack anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They said something about counting cards. And I was like, really? Thanks for telling me. And he was like, yeah, no problem. I just wanted to do you a favor. And I was like, well, was it because I won 90 grand the last time I was here? And he like chuckled. He was like, yeah, it could have been that. Or it could have been that you played 23 hours in one day. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like thinking back to my last trip. And I started in like LA and drove all the way up to Northern California because other teammates had just burned everything down in the area. So I was so desperate at the end of a trip and like got there with like a day and a half left on my trip and was just like, oh my gosh, they're letting me play. I got to go to sleep. And I remember going through shoes like where I'm like, this needs to be my last shoe.
Oh no.
I'm like having to really focus on keeping count. Like more than usual. Yeah. Much more. Like it's requiring so much more effort. And then getting to the end of the shoe and they pull a brand new.
There it is.
It's pre-shuffled and it's like, okay, one more.
Yeah, we'll just see if this goes positive.
Yeah.
If it goes negative, I'll go sleep. Well, we'll just do one more shoe.
Yep, exactly.
Dude.
And I did that like just one more shoe. It was like running a marathon, just one more step for like hours. Oh, man. And made like, I think it was like 93,000. And I saw somebody wearing a jackpot winner jacket and was like, I'm going to get me one of those. And I was like, hey, where can I get one of those? And they're like, oh, those aren't for sale. And I was like, well, I won a jackpot though. And he was like, were you playing the slots? And I was like, no. And they're like, that's only for slot players. But how much did you win? And I was like, $93,000. And he was like, okay, I'll be right back.
I can afford to give you a jackpot jacket.
Yeah. So awesome. And that thing is the best cover. I love it. Because it says slots jackpot winner. It's like, walk up to a blackjack table wearing that. And it's like, that buys you at least a few minutes.
Absolutely. I've bumped into people playing in casinos that, it's like 10 a.m. and they're like, oh it's almost all gone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, we hit a jackpot last night and we're still playing. And they're just, slowly gambling away the entire jackpot they'd won. So there you go.
So depressing.
There's your cover.
Yeah, it's great cover.
Cool. Well, Dusty, Mr. Pink Chip, Wisnu, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for you guys listening at home, you can check out more at blackjackapprenticeship.com. And there you go. We'll talk to you guys later.